proceed na po tayo. Again, sa subsequent measurement ng AR. Sabi nga natin, ano yung subsequent measurement ng accounts receivable? It is net realizable value. So, paano ulit natin makakompute si NRB? Kung ending balance ng accounts receivable, ilaless pa natin si allowance for bad debts. Tsaka natin ma-recognize o tsaka natin makukuha si net realizable value ng accounts receivable. Excuse me lang po. Again, kailan lang ulit tayo nagkakaroon ng allowance for bad debts? Kapag po ang ginagamit natin is allowance method. So, kapag po naka-direct method tayo, diba? Meron po ba tayong allowance for bad debts na nire-recognize? Wala. Kaya nga po siya direct method. Kasi the moment na magkaroon ng write-off, directly na po natin siyang ibinabawa sa accounts receivable natin. Unlike under allowance for bad debts, kahit wala pang write-off, meaning kahit hindi pa tayo ganong ka-sure na talagang hindi na natin makakolekta itong certain portion ng accounts receivable, kahit andun pa lang yung doubt na baka hindi natin ito makolekta, we already recognize bad debt expense. Okay, sabi natin may tatlong method to compute bad debt expense. So, tatlong method na yon: percentage of sales, percentage of receivable, and then lastly is yung aging of receivable. Sabi natin, kapag percentage of sales, ano po yung nakocompute natin? Yung po mismong bad debt expense na po. How about po yung ating percentage of receivables? Sabi natin, kapag yung po ginamit na method, what we computed is not the bad debt expense, but rather yung required balance of accounts receivable. Meaning, pag sinabi natin required balance, ending balance na po ng accounts receivable, ng allowance for bad debts, yung nakocompute natin. Ano ulit ang T-account ng allowance for bad debts? Since allowance for bad debts is a contra asset account, ano normal balance niyan? Debit. Kaya dito po yung beginning balance. Then, i-add natin yung mga bad debt expense na recognize natin during the year. Then, kung merong write-off, i-debit po natin yan sa allowance for bad debts. Since, di ba, ang cause ng write-off, sure na nga natin na hindi na natin makakolekta yan. So, tanggalin mo na yan sa accounts receivable. And tanggalin mo na rin yan sa allowance for bad debts. Kasi, since sure na yan, hindi na yan part ng allowance natin. And then, kung sakaling mayroong recovery nung past accounts na ni-write off na natin, parang i-reverse lang natin yung ni-write off. Kaya po, i-credit natin si recovery. Then, ending balance. Sabi, pag daw percentage of receivable yung ginamit natin, ito daw po yung nakocompute natin. Hindi daw po itong bad debt expense. Same po kapag po aging of receivable yung ginamit. Ang nakakompute pa natin is yung required balance of allowance for bad debts. Okay. So, punta na tayo sa percentage of sales. Sabi natin, kapag po percentage of sales, kaya nga po siya percentage of sales. Meaning, may certain percentage, i-multiply lang po natin sa sales natin. Then, yun na po yung computation ng bad debt expense. But ano po yung mga points na kailangan natin tandaan kapag po ginagamit natin si percentage of sales? Unang-una, hindi po to total sales. This pertains only to credit sales. Sorry po barado yung lang ko makahinga. O hindi ko isisinga. Okay. Again, pagdating sa percentage of sales, credit sales lang po yung kino-consider natin. So, hindi pa natin kino-consider yung cash sales. Ma'am, ano po ba difference ng credit sales saka ng cash sales? O, kapag cash sales, ibig sabihin, nagbenta tayo. Tapos, ang na-receive natin mula sa customer natin is cash. So, meaning at the date of transaction, meaning at the date of sale, pagkabenta natin, na-receive agad natin yung cash na pambayad doon sa binili ng customer. Paano naman po yung credit sales? O, ito po yung utang. O, saan nagbenta tayo at the date of transaction or at the date of sale. Kaya lang, etong customer natin, hindi pa nagbayad agad. So, meaning, yung credit sales, dyan po nag-aaray si accounts receivable. So, since ang concept naman ng allowance for bad debts is aalamin natin kung magkano ba yung portion ng accounts receivable, yung possible na hindi mabayaran. Ito bang cash sales? Kailangan ba natin malaman kung ilan yung portion na hindi mabayaran? Hindi. Diba? Hindi naman utang to nabayaran na nga yan. Kasi nga, na-receive agad natin yung cash right after na magbenta tayo. Unlike itong credit sales. Na nung nagbenta tayo, inutang muna ni customer. And then, naghihintay tayo, let's say, kung ang credit period natin is 30 days, naghihintay tayo per 30 days na mabayaran tayo ni customer. And then, kapag lumagpas na ng 30 days, hindi pa rin tayo mababayaran, ayun na, doon na nag-erase, or doon na nag-aaray si allowance for bad debt at bad debt expense. Kasi possible na baka hindi na natin ma-recognize or hindi natin makolekta yung utang ni customer. Dahil lumagpas na sa credit period, hindi pa rin tayo nababayaran. Ito nag-recognize ng bad debt expense. Kaya nga po, credit sales lang yung consider natin. Kasi, dyan nag-a-arise yung AR. And dito sa AR, dyan pwedeng magkaroon ng bad debt expense. So, kung ang given sa atin, let's say, mayroon daw pong sales sa 10 million. Kung saan yung 30% is cash sales. And then, ang percentage daw po is 5%. Ano po yung ating bad debt expense? So, i-multiply ba natin yung 5% sa 10 million? Hindi po. Ang gagawin po natin, yung 10 million, i-multiply mo muna sa 70%. Para makuha natin or malaman natin magkano ba yung credit sales. Magkano po ba yung credit sales? 700,000. Kasi itong 10 million, this pertains to total sales. Meaning, total po yan ng credit sales saka nung cash sales. Kasi sinabi sa atin, 30% lang daw po nung 10 million yung pertaining sa cash sales. So, ilan po yung para sa credit sales? 700,000. And then, dyan pa lang po imumultiply yung 5%. So, ilan po yung ating bad debt expense? 700,000 times natin sa 5%. So, makukompute po natin is 35,000. 35,000, yan na po yung ating bad debt expense using the percentage of sales. But take note, kapag sinabi taga sa problem, malinaw na malinaw, sinabi na sabihin natin si company A, as their in accordance with their company policy, they compute their bad debt expense using the percentage of total sales. Again, malinaw na sinabi sa problem. Si company A, as part of their company policy, they compute their bad debt expense using percentage of total sales. So, ipagpipilitan pa ba natin yung credit sales? Hindi na po. Kasi malinaw na sinabi sa problem na ang pag-compute daw po ng bad debt expense is percentage daw ng total sales. So, pag ganon, 10 million, multiply mo lang sa 5%. Ilan pa yung makakompute dyan? 500,000. So, ganun po yung concept po nun. Pero kung sinabi lang percentage of sales, automatic. Yung percentage of sales na yan, it pertains to credit sales only. Okay? Sige. Punta tayo sa problem 1. Saan na open ko? Ay, sorry. Wait. Yan. Ayaw niya mag-open. O, sige. Yan na natin. Ay, ayaw niya mag-open. Yan. Okay. So, ay, sorry po. Balik tayo dito. Sabi natin, 'di ba? Percentage of sales. Percentage lang po, i-multiply sa sales. For this problem, ang nangyari po, ganito. ABC company has been recognizing budget expenses based on the direct write-off method. In 2024, ABC company decided to change to the allowance method and that doubtful accounts shall be estimated using the percentage of receivables method. Ay, receivables method pala to. Wala pala akong percentage of sales. Sige. Balik tayo ulit. Wala palang percentage of sales. Again, ganun lang po kapag percentage of sales, no? Bibigyan lang tayo ng, kailangan mo lang malaman, dalawa lang. Kapag percentage of sales, magkano yung credit sales, then magkano yung percentage. I-multiply mo lang yon, makakompute mo na yung budget expense. What if, di ba, ito na, nakuha na natin budget expense, 35,000. And then sabihin natin, ang beginning balance natin is 10,000. And then, sabihin natin, ang write-off is equal sa 5,000. And then, meron tayong recovery na 2,000. Alamin natin magkano yung ending balance ng allowance for bad debts natin. Allowance for bad debts, again, magkano beginning? 10,000. Magkano bad debt expense natin? 35,000. And then, may tayong recovery, 2,000. And then, 5,000. Dahil dyan, magkano po yung ating ending balance? 10,000 plus 35,000. 45 plus 2,000, 47. Less natin yung 5,000. Ilan mag-compute natin? 42,000. Take note lang po, no? Kung mapapansin nyo yung ating T account. Ma'am, di ba sabi nyo nga, ang normal balance ng allowance per bad debt is credit. So, bakit po yung ending balance natin nasa debit side? So, nilalagay ko lang po siya for the sake lang po ng pag-compute. Kasi, pag-compute using the T account. Yes, ang ending balance po is dapat po nasa credit side pa rin yan. Pero for the sake of computation, na ang gagamitin natin is yung T account to compute either yung mga budget expense or recovery. Nilalagay po natin sa credit side yung ending balance. Why? Ang concept po kasi niyan, kailangan daw balance yung debit side natin tsaka balance yung credit side. So kapag hindi siya balance, anong ginagawa natin? Ini-squeeze out natin para at least makuha natin yung amount. For this case, kanina, di ba? Kung hindi pa natin compute yung ending. Magkano yung amount on debit side? 5,000 lang. How about yung wait lang. Ayan. How about yung ating debit side? Magkano po yung total? Sabi natin, 47,000. Balance po ba siya? Hindi. Ilan yung idadagdag natin sa debit side para mag-equal na siya doon sa credit side. 47 less 5. Ilan pa po yung kailangan natin? 42,000. Ano ba nawawala sa debit side? Sabi natin, ang debit side pagdating sa allowance for bad debts T account, ang nasa debit side lang is write-off tsaka ending balance. Ito na yung write-off So, ano itong 42,000? Yan na po yung ating ending balance. Kaya po nasa debit side rather yung ending balance. So nakalagay lang po siya sa debit side for the sake lang po ng computation using the T account. para po mas madali tayong mag-squeeze. Again, magkano po yung ating allowance for bad debts? 42,000. Ngayon, pag tinanong ka, how much is the allowance for bad debts to be recognized at the end of the year or reporting year? 42,000 yung isasagot natin. Punta naman tayo sa percentage of receivable. Same lang po sila ang percentage of sales. Pero instead na sa sales o sa credit sales i-multiply, saan natin i-multiply yung percentage? Kapag percentage of receivables yung method na ginamit natin. Di ba? Based sa pangalan, percentage of receivable. Meaning, sa receivable account pa natin, i-multiply. So, percentage, multiply lang po natin sa ating AR. Di ba? Ganun lang po. Kaya lang, unlike sa percentage of sales, sabi ko nga, ano yung nako-compute natin? Yung required balance o yung ating ending balance of accounts receivable. Sagot. Ang tanong po dito, eto madali lang minsan given yung accounts receivable Gagawin lang po natin. Alamin natin kung magkano yung ending balance. And then after nun, alamin mo na kung magkano yung percentage. Then, i-multiply yung dalawa na yun. Ayun na. Makakompute mo na si required balance of AR. What if under either percentage of sales or percentage of receivable, nawawala po yung percentage? Paano natin siya kukomputin? Sabi daw po, may way daw po tayo ng pag-compute ng percentage. Kasi po, usually, ang pag-compute po ng percentage ay nakadepende doon sa mismong forecast. So, tinitingnan nila yung trend. And then from that, tsaka po sila nakaka-compute ng percentage. Of course, sa theory, usually lang sa mga problems, given na yung percentage na yan. Pero po sa practice, meaning sa mismong reality, sa mga mismong companies po natin, hindi po hula-hula yung percentage. Nasabi nila, parang kinukutoban ako mukhang maganda yung 5%. Sige nga, gawin natin 5% na lang yung percentage. Hindi po ganon. Kino-compute din po nila yung percentage. Using their data or information na meron sila, yun po yung gagamitin nila para ma-compute kung ilan po yung percentage na gagamitin para ma-compute yung either bad debt expense or allowance or yung ending balance ng allowance for bad debt. So, meron pong way kung pag-compute nung percentage. So, hindi po yan, again, sabi ko nga kanina, hindi yan basta-basta inuulaan lang. Kung ano lang maisipan ng percentage, yung gagamitin to compute the bad debt expense or allowance for bad debt. So, paano daw po ba nakakompute yun? So, sabi daw po, to compute the percentage, ang magiging formula natin will be the total write-off. Less po natin yung total recoveries. And then, it will be divided sa ating total net credit sales. So, para at least ma-apply natin ito, let's solve problem 1. So, ABC company has been recognizing bad debt expense based on the direct write-off method. Kaya lang po, in 2024 or 20X4, ABC company decided to change to the allowance method and that doubtful accounts should be estimated using the percentage of receivables method. Sa problem natin, binigay na po kung anong klase method yung gagamitin to compute the allowance for bad debt. And it is percentage of receivable method. So, the percentage is to be computed based on all available historical data up to a maximum of 4 years. So, binigyan tayo ng data ng write-off, recoveries, and net credit sales from 20X1 to 20X4. So, the balances of accounts receivable on January 1, 20X4 and December 31, 20X4 are 100,000 and 200,000 respectively. So, ngayon, tatanong sa atin, magkano daw po yung doubtful account expense. Kaya lang, di ba, sabi natin kanina, kapag po ang ginagamit nating method is percentage of receivable, what we compute is the required balance of allowance for bad debts. So, meaning yung ending balance po ng allowance for bad debts, yung nako-compute, hindi po mismo yung bad debt expense. Paano natin makakompute yung bad debt expense? We will use the T account, yung allowance for bad debts account. So, ano yung mga kailangan nating info? So, ang hinahanap is yung bad debt expense for 20X4. So, kailangan natin malaman muna is yung magkano yung beginning balance noong 2023. Then, magkano yung bad debt expense? Of course, yun yung compute natin. And then, magkano po ba yung recovery? Meron po bang recovery for 2024? And then, lastly, is yung write-off. Ngayon, syempre, yung pinakahuli talaga is yung ending balance. Yan. So, latagan natin ng amount. Meron pa ba tayong recovery? Yes. Dito na natin for year 20X4. Meron pong write-off na 28,000. Recovery na 2,000. While meron naman daw po tayong write-off ng 20X4 na 28,000. Ayan. Okay, ating malaman muna is magkano yung beginning balance and ending balance ng allowance for bad debt natin. So, sabi natin kanina, since naka-percentage of receivables method tayo, ang makakompute natin, if we use that method, is yung ending balance ng allowance for bad debt. So, para makompute tong ending balance, ano gagawin natin? Yung AR, or yung ending balance as of 2024, i-multiply lang natin sa percentage. Magkano po ba yun? Magkano po ba yung ating accounts receivable? On December 31, 20X4. 200,000. Okay, ngayon, i-multiply na lang natin sa percentage. Kaya lang, sabi ko nga kanina, di ba, hindi naman given sa problem na to yung percentage. Ano gagawin natin? Compute natin yung mismong percentage by using this formula. So, ano po yung formula natin? Again, total write-off plus total recoveries over net credit sales. Sige, compute natin. Magkano yung total write-off natin? Meaning, kunin nyo yung write-off from 20X1 to 20X4. So, ilan po yung total? 60,000. Then, kunin natin yung total recoveries. Magkano naman po yung total recoveries? 11,000. Over sa total ng net credit sales na magkano po? 700,000. So, dahil dyan, magkano po yung numerator pa natin? 49,000 over sa denominator natin na 700,000. So, dahil dyan, magkano po yung ating percentage? 7%. Ano po natin yung percentage? Gagawin lang po natin yung 7%, i-multiply po natin sa 200,000. Ilan pa yung makakompute natin? 14,000. So, this 14,000, yan na po ang ending balance ng ating allowance for bad debt. So, ano na po kulang natin? Beginning balance na lang po para makompute kung magkano yung ating bad debt expense. Paano makakompute yung beginning balance? Una sa lahat, walang given. But pwede po natin siyang makompute by using our problem o lahat ng information na nakikita natin sa problem. Kasi, una, ang method na ginagamit is percentage of receivables method. So, meaning, kaya natin computein yung ending balance ng allowance for bad debt. So, yung concept natin, di ba? Ang ending balance, let's say this year, siya po ang magiging beginning balance in the subsequent year. Tama? Diba? Ganun yung concept natin eh. So, kung meron tayong ending balance for 2023, yung ending balance na yan po yung magiging beginning balance in 2024. Tapos, yung beginning balance naman po noong 2023, syempre, yan yung ending balance noong 2022. So, parang domino yan. Ano yung ending balance this year? Yan yung magiging beginning balance next year. Tapos, pag nakakuha ulit ng ending balance para sa taon na yon, yan yung magiging beginning balance sa susunod na taon. So, you always follow that concept. So, meaning, para makompute natin yung beginning balance ng allowance per budget, kailangan natin malaman magkano ba yung ending balance ng nakaraang taon. So, again, para makompute natin yung beginning balance ng 2024, kailangan natin malaman magkano po ba yung ending balance noong 2023. And para natin makakompute yun, again, we will use the percentage of receivables method. Saan? Para makompute natin yung ending balance ng allowance for budgets. O, yung percentage, multiply natin sa ER noong 2023. O, yung ending balance ng ER noong 2023. Ma'am, hindi po given yung ending balance ng AR noong 2023. Kaya lang, given naman sa atin yung beginning balance ng AR natin o ng accounts receivable noong 2024. So, dahil dyan, following the concept, di ba? Yung beginning balance natin noong 2024, matik yan din ang ending balance ng 2023. Kasi nga, di ba, ang rule natin, kung ano yung ending balance ngayong taon, siya po ang magiging beginning balance sa susunod na taon. So, kung 100,000 yung beginning balance ng accounts receivable noong 2024, alam natin na yung ending balance ng accounts receivable noong 2023 is also 100,000. So, ilagay natin 100,000. O, ngayon, kunin natin yung percentage. Pwede ba natin gamitin yung 7%? Hindi po. Bakit? Kasi kung titingnan natin, yung 7% na compute natin dahil kinuha natin yung total write-offs, recoveries, and net credit sales from 20x1 hanggang 20x4. Kaya lang for year 20x3, alam ba natin yung mga write-off, recovery, tsaka net credit sales noong 2024 or 20x4? Hindi pa. So, hindi mo pwedeng gamitin yung 7% to compute the ending balance of allowance per budgets for 2023. Kasi nga, yung 7%, it includes information about 20x4, write-offs, recoveries, and net credit sales. So, anong gagawin natin? Kailangan makuha lang po natin yung percentage kung saan ang kino-cover lang niya is hanggang 20x3. So, dahil doon, kukumpitin natin yung percentage from 20x1 to 20x3 lang po. O, magkano yung total write-ups natin from 20x1 to 20x3? O, 7,000 plus 10 plus 15. Ilan po makukumpit natin? 32,000. O, next, total recoveries naman po natin from 20x1 to 20x3. O, 1,000 plus 3,000 plus 5,000. So, ilan po yun? 9,000. Over, magkano po yung total net credit sales natin from 20x1 to 20x3? 100 plus 160 plus 200. Ilan po yung makakompute? 460,000. Dahil dyan, magkano po yung percentage po natin? 5%. So, yan pa lang po yung percentage na gagamitin natin. Again, bakit po hindi natin consider yung 7%? Again, ang kinocompute natin is ending balance ng allowance per budget for year 2023. Kasi nga, di ba, ang ending balance ng allowance per budget ng 2023, yan po ang magiging beginning balance ng allowance per budget for 2024. So, we don't use the 7% kasi yung 7% included yung mga 20x4 write-offs, recoveries, and net credit sales. Syempre, noong taon 20x3, alam mo na ba yung mga 20x4 information na yan? Hindi pa. Kaya, para mag-compute ulit tayo ng another percentage, kung saan ang kino-cover lang po niya is hanggang 20x3 lang. Ilan po yung makukuha natin? 5% multiplied sa 100,000, makakompute natin 5,000. So, meaning, for year 20x3, 20x3, ang ending balance ng allowance per budget is 5,000. And since yan yung ending balance ng allowance per budget ng 2023, magkano na po yung beginning balance natin ng 20x4? 5,000. Kompleto na po ba yung lahat ng information natin? Yes. Makakompute na po ba natin allowance per yung budget expense? Yes. Squeeze natin. Again, paano siya i-squeeze? Kunin nyo yung total ng debit side, kunin nyo yung total ng credit side. Yung kailangan, equal sila. Dito, ilan po yung total ng debit side natin? 42,000. How about yung ating credit side? Ilan yung total? 7,000. Equal po ba sila? Hindi. Ilan yung kulang sa credit side natin para maging parehong 42,000 yung both sides? Kulang tayo ng 35,000. So kapag inad natin yung 35,000 sa 7,000, ilan yung total? 42,000 na. Which is equal dun sa debit side natin na 42,000. That's why, magkano po yung budget expense natin? 35,000. So, ganun po yung pag-squeeze natin using the T account. Ngayon, lagyan natin ng entry. Ano po yung magiging journal entry natin? Debit, budget expense, credit, allowance for budget, 5,000. Again, ganun lang po yung pag-compute natin kapag naman po percentage of receivables. And ganun din po yung pag-compute natin ng percentage in case na hindi po given yung percentage sa atin. So, regardless kung percentage of receivables or percentage of sales, ganun way po yung pag-compute natin ng mismong percentage. Pero most of the time or most of the problems naman po, given naman po si percentage. Para tayo sa last method, yung aging. Paano po ba yung concept ng aging of receivable? So, sa aging naman po, sa aging of receivable, para lang din po siyang percentage of receivables. Kasi, meron tayong percentage na kinoconsider. Kaya lang po, ang kahibahan lang po ng aging of receivable sa percentage of receivables, medyo mas detailed po kasi pagdating sa aging. Why? Hahatiin po kasi natin yung total receivables natin into different age or into different groups based on its age or based on dates outstanding. Gano'n na ba siya katagal, outstanding, etc. So, kapag na-classify na natin, na-group na po natin, doon pa lang po natin kukunin magkano yung percentage of uncollectible. And then, pag tinotal na natin, tsaka natin makakompute si required balance of allowance for budgets. So, para mas natin maintindihan, let's solve problem 2. Sa problem 2, sabi daw, ABC Company sells to wholesalers on terms of 2/15 net 30. An analysis of ABC Company's trade receivable balances at December 31, 2023 revealed the following. So, as you see, diba, yung total accounts receivables natin, hinati po siya based on age in days. Sinabi natin na age in days, parang ganito po siya. From the date na na-recognize natin yung sale, gano'n na ba siya katagal? So, for example, let's say, nagbenta tayo no March 1, 2025. Tapos, pag sinabi natin 15 days pa lang yung ating receivable, meaning parang ano tayo sa March 15. Kasi diba, as of March 15, gano'n na ba katagal yung receivables natin? 15 days pa lang. Parang ganun po siya. So, kung 30 days naman, parang sabihin natin, kung 16 to 30 days, parang nakakaisang buwan pa lang naman yung receivables na yan. So, ganun po yung concept niyan kapag sinabi nating age in days. Ngayon, napakupit sa atin, magkano po yung doubtful accounts expense for the year. And then, katanda sa atin, magkano yung trade receivable, and then yung necessary journal entry. And based sa problem natin, alam naman po natin na ang gagamitin natin is aging. Sige, sulat po natin. Meron tayo 180,000, 108,000, 90,000, 72,000, and then 54,000. Also, 36,000. Ang sabi sa atin, sa second paragraph, ABC Company uses the aging of receivables method. So, the estimated percentages of collectibility based on past experience are shown below. So, again, Una, sabi daw, yung percentage of collectability. So, ang gagamitin ba natin is yung 97%? Hindi po. Kasi ang ginagamit natin percentage is percentage of uncollectability. So, meaning, ilan lang po talaga yung percentage na hindi natin makakolekta. Kasi, kaya sinabi na percentage of collectability, meaning 97% nung total accounts is makakolekta natin. Eh, di ba ang inahanap natin is ilan po ba yung hindi natin kayang kolektahin? Kaya po, anong gagawin natin? Ilas nyo yan sa 100%. Para malaman natin, ilan pong percent yung hindi natin makokolekta. So, sa madaling sabi, ang kailangan natin is percentage of uncollectability. Again, ang kailangan po natin is percentage of uncollectability. Kasi nga, ang inaalam natin is budget expense. Ilan yung possible na hindi natin makolekta. So, yun po yung kailangan nating alamin. So, dahil dyan, 3% to, 10% ito, 15% ito naman 35%, ito naman 60%. So, again, ang kailangan lang po natin is yung percentage of uncollectability. So, always be mindful sa mga terms na ginagamit sa problem. Kasi hindi pa rin nakakita kayo ng percent, matik yun na po yung gagamitin. Again, what we follow or what we use is the percentage of uncollectability. Next, i-multiply na ba natin ito sa 3%? Multiply ito sa multiply na ba natin ito sa 3%, sa 10%, 15%, check, 35%, 60%. Paano to? Bitin. So, nagamitin dito. So, ganun po ba? Hindi po. Basahin po muna natin. Sabi daw, para daw po sa mga accounts which are overdue for less than 31 days, yung percentage of uncollectability is 3%. Again, para daw po sa mga accounts na overdue na for less than 31 days, yung percentage of uncollectability natin is 3%. Punta tayo. Sabi daw, ang terms natin is 2/15 net 30. So, meaning, ang credit period natin is 30 days. So, parang ganito yan. Sabihin natin, January 1. January 1. Hanggang saan po yung credit period natin? January 30. So, 2025. Para may taon. So, again, yan po yung credit period. Kailan po natin masasabi na siya ay overdue na? O kapag lumagpas na po sa credit period, still hindi pa rin nababayaran or still outstanding pa din yung receivable. So, meaning, kapag lumagpas na po ng January 30, 2025, ito pa lang po yung time para masabi natin na yung accounts receivable is overdue. Kapag po pasok pa din sa credit period, overdue na po ba yan? Hindi po. So, hinihintay pa rin natin na mabayaran siya within the credit period. Punta tayo sa ating receivable. Sabi daw, yung receivables natin na 180,000, yung kanyang edad is 0 to 15. Meaning, na-recognize natin yung receivable from January 1 hanggang January 15. So, yung 180,000, ang edad niyan is from January 1 to January 15. Kasi nga, 0 to 15 yung kanyang age. Meaning, nag-arise yan or na-recognize natin yung receivable na yan either from January 1 to January 15. Ang tanong, siya po ba ay overdue na? Ito po bang 180,000 kung saan nag-arise siya from January 1 to January 15, overdue na po ba yan? Lumagpas na po ba sa credit period natin na 30 days? Hindi pa. Kasi as we see, diba? Pasok pa rin po yan sa credit period natin. So, applicable po sa kanya itong accounts which are overdue for less than 31 days is 3% na daw yung percentage of uncollectability. So, applicable po ba sa kanya? Hindi po. So, meaning, hanggat hindi pa nag-overdue, andun yung presumption natin na makakolekta pa rin natin lahat yan. Eh, ang hinahanap natin is ilan yung uncollectibles o yung hindi natin makakolekta. So, yung 180,000, may portion po ba dyan na hindi natin makakolekta? Wala. Kasi imumultiply, since di pa siya overdue, ang presumption natin, makakolekta pa rin natin lahat yan. So, wala po yung uncollectible. Punta tayo sa 108,000. Sabi daw, ang edad naman yan is age 16 to 30. Meaning, possible na diba? Ang nangyari dyan, mga receivable, na-recognize natin noong January 1, then umaabot na po ng 30 days. Hindi pa rin siya nababayaran. Kasi 16 to 30 na eh. So, ibig sabihin, yes, possible nangyari. January 1, nag-aray sa mga receivables na yan. Pero 30 days na po nakakalipas from the date of sale or from the date of transaction, still hindi pa rin pa nababayaran. Kaya po, yun yung kanyang edad. Ang tanong, yan po ba'y overdue na? Eh sabi natin, from the date of transaction or from the date of sale, 30 days pa lang po yung lumilipas. Eh, ilan ulit ang credit period natin? 30 days. So, masasabi na ba natin na overdue itong receivable natin? O saan 16 to 30 days na po yan outstanding? Hindi pa po. Kasi, since pasok siya sa credit period, ang assumption natin, kaya pa yung makolekta ng kaya pa natin makolekta ng buo yan. Again po, para malinaw tayo, ang edad daw niya is 16 to 30 days. Meaning, from the date of sale, parang, from the date of sale, or from the date of transaction, hindi pa rin yan nababayaran after 16 days or after 30 days. Ang tanong, overdue na po ba yan? Eh sabi natin, ang credit period natin is within 30 days. So kahit na hindi pa yan nababayaran within 30 days, since pasok pa rin siya sa credit period natin, andun pa rin po yung assumption natin na 100% natin siyang makokolekta. So dahil dyan, meron po ba tayong uncollectible for 108,000? Wala po. Kaya, 0 po ulit yan. Next. Yung 90,000. Nangyari, let's say, January 1, nagbenta. And sabi daw, 90 days na, or 31 to 60 days na po siyang outstanding. So, meaning, sabihin natin, as of February 15. February 15. February 28 rather, kasi 30 days. Hanggang February 28. Outstanding pa rin daw po yung ating account. Outstanding pa rin itong 90,000. So, again, January 1, kunwari, nangyari yung sale. Pero 60 days na po yung nakakalipas, still outstanding pa din. So, ang tanong, ilang araw na po ba siyang overdue? So, 60 days na po ba siyang overdue? Hindi pa po. Kasi nga, again, ang credit period natin is 30 days. So, kailan mag-i-start yung counting para malaman natin na overdue na siya? After nung ika-30th day. So, meaning, pagpatak nung January 31, doon pa lang po mag-i-start yung counting natin na siya ay overdue. And from the credit period, kung bibilangin natin, overdue na siya for 30 days or less than 30 days. So, meron na po bang percentage of uncollectibility? Yes. Kasi ang sabi sa problem, lahat daw po ng accounts which are overdue for less than 31 days, 3% daw yung ating percentage of uncollectibility. Meaning, kung overdue na yan for less than 31 days, Ibig sabihin, 3% po ng accounts receivable na yon or particular yung accounts receivable na overdue na ng less than 31 days, o yung 3% nun, hindi na natin makakolekta. So dahil dyan, itong 90,000, imumultiply natin sa 3%. So ilan pa ba kakapit natin? 2,700. So again, bakit po? Doon pa lang po nag-start yung pag-multiply natin. Kasi again, 31 to 60 days na po siyang outstanding. So meaning, from the date of sale, diba? From the date of sale, date of transaction, hindi pa rin yan nababayaran up to 60 days. Eh, ang credit period natin, 30 days. And sabi natin, mag-i-start lang naman ang counting ng pagiging overdue after ng credit period. So, after the credit period, ilang days na po siyang outstanding? O, wala pang 31 days. So, 30 days pa lang po. Kaya po, 3% yung kanyang percentage of uncollectability. O, how about naman yung 61 to 90? O, ganito naman yan. Wait lang. Gawin natin. Wait lang. Sabihin natin yan. O, sabihin natin, this is January 30. So, yan yung ating credit period. So, ito po yung ating credit period. Okay. So, yan yung po yung credit period natin. O, sabi natin, yung 72,000, 61 to 90 days na po yung kanyang edad. So, meaning, kung sakaling January 1 yan, na-recognize, o yung date of sale is January 1, o parang nasa March 1 na tayo, o March 30 rather, o March 30, still, hindi pa rin nababayaran yung 72,000. O, siya po ba yung overdue na? Yes. Kasi lumagpas na tayo sa credit period na January 30. At sabi daw, December 30, still overdue pa din. December 30. March 30, still overdue pa din. Or hindi pa din nababayaran, rather. Hindi pa rin nababayaran yung accounts receivable natin. That's why, kaya nga po siya ay overdue na. Ang tanong, gaano na po ba siya katagal na overdue? O from January 30, o sabi natin, as of March 30, di pa rin niya nababayaran. O, from January 30, which is yung end ng credit period natin, gaano po katagal? Hanggang March 30. O, di ba? 60 days. So, meaning, etong 72,000, overdue na po yan ng 60 days. E, ano sabi natin? Lahat daw po ng accounts, which are overdue na po for 31 to 60 days, 10% na yung kanyang uncollectability. Kaya po, imumultiply natin to sa 10%. O, next, punta naman tayo. 61 to 120 days. O, sabihin naman natin, itong 54,000. O, again, January 1, nagkaroon ng bentahan. Tapos, umabot na po ng March 30, hindi pa rin nababayaran itong 54,000. So, siya po ba yung overdue na? Yes. Gano'n na po siya katagal na overdue? So, again, from January 30. Gano'n na po katagal? Up to April 30. So, 90 days, tama? So, meaning, yung 54,000, yan po ay 90 days ng overdue. Kaya ano sabi natin? Or sabi sa pangalang paragraph, lahat daw po ng accounts which are already overdue for 61 to 90 days, 15% na daw po yung hindi natin makakolekta. So, dahil dyan, multiply natin sa 15%. So, ilan pa yung makakompute natin? 8,100. O, last, 36,000. O, 121 to 150 days na yung kanyang edad. So, meaning, pag na date of sale ulit, January 1, o, hanggang March 30, hindi pa rin nababayaran tong 36,000. So, ang tanong ulit, siya po ba'y overdue na? Yes, kasi lumagpas na sa ating credit period na 30 days. But ang tanong, gano'n po siya katagal na overdue. So, from January 30 hanggang March 30, gano'n po katagal na overdue? O 120 days na po. So, meaning, yung 36,000, siya po yung overdue na for 120 days. And sabi natin, lahat po ng accounts or accounts receivable na overdue na po ng 91 to 120 days, siya po ay hindi, o yung 35% po nun ay hindi na natin makokolekta. So, dahil dyan, multiply po natin sa 35%. So, ilan po yung makakompute natin? 30,600. So, yan po yung ating required balance o yung ending balance of allowance for bad debts. O, gawin na tayo yung account. Okay, alam na natin yung ending, 30,600. O, sabi daw, yung allowance for bad debts natin, merong beginning balance na, excuse po, na 18,000. Ang write-off daw po natin is 6,000. Excuse me. While yung ating recovery is 3,000. O, try natin i-squeeze. Para mag-squeeze, o kailangan balance yung debit side at credit side ng T-account. Magkano yung total ng debit side natin? 36,600. Excuse me po. How about yung credit side natin? Ilan po yung total? 11,000. Tama? Siya po ba'y balanse? Hindi po. Sabi natin, kailangan balanse yung debit at credit side ng T-account. So, ilan po yung kulang sa credit side? So, ilan po yung kulang? 15,600. So, this 15,600, yan na po yung ating bad debt expense. So, yan na po ba yung sagot natin sa number 1? Yes. Next, prepare tayo yung necessary journal entry. Meron tayong bad debt expense. Ano po yung entry natin? Bad debt expense, debit, credit, allowance for bad debt na 15,600. This is to recognize yung bad debt expense. How about yung write-off? Ano yung entry natin doon? Ano yung entry natin sa write-off? Allowance for bad debts, debit, credit, AR. So, magkano po yun? 6,000. Sa recovery naman po, ano yung magiging journal entry natin? Diba? Ang quantity recovery, ito yung mga na-write off na. Kaya lang, di natin alam, makokolekta pa pala natin. So, meaning, nanggaling yung 3,000, nanggaling yung sa 6,000. Meaning, akala natin may write off na o hindi na natin makokolekta yung buong 6,000, pero nakolekta pa pala natin yung 3,000. Pero sa journal entry natin, di ba, tinanggal na natin yung 6,000. Makakolekta pa pala yung sa journal entry natin, tinanggal na natin yung 6,000. Pero hindi natin alam, makokolekta pa pala natin yung 3,000 noon. Ay, 3,000 dito. Dahil dyan, anong gagawin natin? I-reverse mo. So, AR, debit, credit, allowance for bad debts. 3,000. And then, since nakolekta natin yung recovery, yan ay collection, debit tayo ng cash, credit tayo ng AR na 3,000. So, again, ito po yung journal entry to recognize bad debt expense. Ito naman po yung journal entry natin to recognize write-off. While ito naman po yung journal entry natin to recognize yung ating recovery. Okay. Excuse me lang po. Pasensya na. Pa tayo sa number 3. Sabi daw, magkano yung trade receivable na dapat i-report sa at December 31, 2023. Ano sabi natin? Diba? Ang subsequent measurement ng AR is net realizable value. Meaning, yung ending balance ng AR natin, ilaless natin yung allowance for bad debt. And then, yung makukuha natin, yun na po yung NRB na tinatawag. And that amount, yan po dapat ang mag-reflect sa balance sheet po natin. So, dito, magkano po yung ating trade receivable na dapat i-reflect sa December 31, 2023? O, kunin natin yung NRB. Again, magkano po yung accounts receivable natin? O, yung ending balance ng accounts receivable natin? 540,000. And then, magkano ulit yung ending balance ng ating allowance for bad debt? Magkano po? 30,600. So, ililess po natin yan. Ngayon, magkano po yung NRV natin o yung net realizable value? 509,400. So, meaning, this 509,400, yan po yung ating net realizable value. And this 509,400, yan din po yung amount na dapat mag-reflect sa balance sheet. Okay, pala tayo sa problem 3. Tapos na po tayo sa problem 2. Diba? Carry, kayang-kaya. Madali lang. Tayo sa medyo comprehensive. From inception of operations December 31, 2022, 17 corporation provided for uncollectible accounts receivable under the allowance method. Sorry po. Provisions were made monthly at 2% of credit sales. Bad debts written off were charged to the allowance account. Recoveries of bad debts previously written off were credited to the allowance account. And no year adjustments to the allowance account were made. 17's usual credit terms are net 30 days. So the balance in the allowance for bad debts account was 143,000 at January 1, 2022. And during 2022, credit sales total 15 million interim provisions for doubtful accounts were made at 2% of credit sales. 140,000 of bad debts were written off and recoveries of accounts previously written off amounted to 43,000. So, 17 installed a computer facility in November 2022. And an aging of accounts receivable was prepared for the first time as of December 31, 2022. Pakita sa atin yung table ng aging. And then, based on the review of collectibility of the account balances in the prior to January 1, 2022 aging category, additional receivables totaling 120,000 were written off as of December 31, 2022. So, sabi daw po, itong category na to, itong prior January 2, 2022, yung 120,000 po is written off. So, meaning, 180,000 na lang po talaga yung possible na nakolekta. The 70% uncollectible estimate applies to the remaining 180,000 in the category. Effective with the year ended December 31, 2022, 17 adopted a new accounting method for estimating the allowance for doubtful accounts at the amount indicated by the year-end aging analysis of accounts receivable. So, ganito po yung nangyari sa problem 3. So, si 17 corporation rather, diba? From the day of inception, as of hanggang ngayon 2022, or hanggang January 1, 2022, ang ginagamit nila talaga nilang method to compute yung kanilang allowance per bad debt is percentage of sales. O, saan nakalagay yun? Dito po. Sabi daw, di ba? Provisions were made monthly at 2% of credit sales. Kaya lang, noong November 2022, nagkaroon ng shifting. So, ibig sabihin, nagbago sila ng pag-compute ng kanilang allowance per budgets. So, from percentage of sales, nakita nila na mukhang mas okay kung aging yung gagamitin. So, again, from the day of inception, meaning from the time na nabuo itong si 17 Corporation, talagang ang pag-compute nila ng budget expense is percentage of sales. Again, paano natin nalaman na percentage of sales? Diba? 2% daw po ng credit sales. Kaya lang, noong November 2022, gumawa sila ng aging, and then they have decided na for that year or for year 2022, what if aging of receivables na yung gagamitin nila to compute the budget expense? O ngayon, tatanong sa atin, magkano muna yung balance of allowance per budgets on December 31, 2022 before adjustment? Meaning, kung sakaling hindi in-apply itong aging of receivables, nag-stick pa rin sila doon sa kanilang original method to compute budget expense, which is percentage of sales. Magkano yung magiging allowance per budgets natin? O ngayon, computin natin. Kaya pa siya percentage of sales. Anong ibig sabihin? Yung ating credit sales, i-multiply nyo lang sa percentage. So, ang percentage natin is 2%. O, magkano po yung credit sales natin? O, dapat daw, di ba? During 2022, ang credit sales natin is 15 million. So, 15 million, multiply sa 2%, ilan po yung makakompute natin? O, 300,000. O, kapag ginamit natin is percentage of sales, ano po yung nakakompute natin? Required balance of allowance per budgets po ba? Or yung budget expense? O, remember, always remember, kapag percentage of sales po yung ginamit natin, ang makakompute po natin is budget expense. So, dahil dyan, gawa tayong account. Allowance for budgets. So, dito po, si 300,000. O, meron ba tayong beginning balance? Meron po ba? O, meron. The balance daw po in the allowance per budgets account was 143,000. So, lagyan natin dito, 143,000. And then, sabi daw, meron tayong budgets written up na 140,000. And then, meron tayong recovery na 43,000. Kaya lang, ito lang po ba? Ito na po ba yon? Nalagay na ba natin lahat ng information? O, hindi pa po. Remember, doon sa last paragraph natin, na doon sa prior to January 2, 2022 category, di naman daw lahat ng 300,000 is possible pang makolekta. Yung 120,000 po doon is write-off na. So, meaning, hindi po talaga 140,000 lang yung write-off natin. So, magkano po yung total write-off natin? 260,000. O, para pa nakuha? Yung 140,000. Ito po yun. Plus yung 120,000 na ni-write-off mula sa prior to January 2, 2022 category. O, kompleto na po ba? Yes. Makakompute na po ba natin? Magkano yung ating ending allowance per budgets? Yes. So, magkano po? O, 143 plus 300 plus 43 less 260. O, ilan po yung makakompute natin? O, 216,000. So, yan po yung sagot natin sa number 1. Punta tayo sa number 2. Hinahanap sa atin yung required allowance per budgets. So, meaning, ito na yung after adjustment. Meaning, after mag-shift ng method from percentage of sales into aging of receivables, magkano na daw po yung required allowance for budgets natin. So, ilatag natin. Meron tayo November to December, July to October, January to June, and then yung prior to January. So, this is to 160, 1.3 million. Ito naman, 840,000. O, ito naman, 180 lang. O, again, bakit 180 lang? Kasi nga po, yung 120, write-off na yan. O, then, i-multiply natin sa percentage of uncollectible. O, diba? Given is estimated percentage of uncollectible. So, ililist pa ba natin sa 100% o hindi na po? Kasi ang given sa atin is yung percentage of uncollectibility. Okay. 2%. This is 10%. This is 25%. Ito naman, 70%. Ilan po yung makakompute natin? Dito po, 43,200. Dito naman, 130,000. Dito naman is 210,000. Then, ito naman po is 126,000. So, dahil dyan, magkano po yung total o yung ating required allowance of budget account? 509,200. Kung sakaling ito yung ating method or aging, magkano yung budget expense natin? Mangyayari, meron na tayong ending, 509,200. And then, magkano yung ating write-off? 260,000. While yung ating recovery is 43,000. Magkano yung beginning natin? 143,000. Pag in-squeeze natin, ilan po yung makakompute natin? 583,200. So, meaning, using this method, or using the aging of receivable, 583,200 po yung budget expense natin. And yan po yung sagot natin sa number 4. Ito naman yung sagot natin sa number 2. Tingnan natin. Budget expense, allowance for budgets. So, wait lang ha. I-replay lang natin para umabot tayo. Kapag percentage of sales ang gamit natin, magkano yung budget expense? 300,000. Kapag naman po percentage of sales ang ginamit natin, ang allowance for budget account is 216,000. And then, kapag naman aging, ang budget expense natin is 583,200, while yung ending balance ng allowance for budget accounts natin is 509,200. From that, ano yung difference? Nagkaroon po ba ng increase or decrease? Kung mapapansin natin, meron niyang increase ng magkano po? 283,200. Same as to allowance per budget account. Meron din po siyang increase ng 283,200. So, meaning, nung nag-shift tayo ng method from percentage of sales papuntang aging of receivables, yung magiging effect po niya sa budget expense tsaka sa allowance per budgets is magkakaroon po ng increase. Both accounts po yan ng 283,200. So, from that, ano ba yung magiging adjustment entry natin? Diba? Ito yung nasa books natin. Ililipat na natin sa aging, yung ating method to compute budget expense. So, paano pa natin siya i-adjust? Paano tayo magdadagdag ng budget expense? Debit, credit. Debit. Kasi nga, that is expense account. And, ang normal balance ng budget expense is debit. And then, how about yung allowance per budget? Paano tayo mag-i-increase? Credit naman. Kasi nga, di ba, ang allowance per budget natin, ang normal balance is credit. So, ilan po yung amount? 283,200. So, ito po yung magiging adjusting entry natin. So, ito po yung sagot natin sa number 3. Number 5, magkano daw po yung NRB ng accounts receivable ni 17 Corporation? Paano makakompute yung NRB? Again, magkano yung total accounts receivable natin? 4,480,000. Paano na-compute yung 4,480,000? 2,160 plus 1,3 plus 840 plus 180. So, ito po yun. So, 4,480,000 po yan. Then, ilas natin yung ating ending balance ng allowance for budget accounts. Ano pa gagamitin? Yung sa percentage of sales o yung sa yung sa aging of receivables? Of course, yung sa aging. So, magkano po yun? 509,200. So, bakit po? Kasi again, di ba? Nag-shift ng method o nagbago po ng method ng pag-compute ng budget expense si 17 Corporation. So, from percentage of sales. For this year daw, for year 2022, aging of receivables na po yung gagamitin nila. So, ilan po yung makakapit natin? 3,970,800. So, yan po yung sagot naman natin sa number 5. So, again, ganito naman po yung pag-compute natin in case sa merong shifting sa method ng pag-compute ng allowance for budgets at budget expense. So, again, ano naging effect ng pag-shift ay pagbago ng method from percentage of sales to aging, nagkaroon po ng increase ng 283,200. And that's how we